he had how much? 40,000. So in this patient, as Manisha also knows, had thrombocytopenia. That's why he's having it, not due to platelet dysfunction per se. So again, we have another thing to worry about, why he's having thrombocytopenia. Okay, but we have already, overheard by 15 minutes, and we have not even reached halfway in this case because of our, meandering around the basic sciences. Okay, so this patient has got thrombocytopenia, he has got pedal edema, and he has got hypoalbuminemia. So many problems. So who will tell us, other than Divya, who can tell us why he has got hypoalbuminemia, thrombocytopenia, and pedal edema? Hemangioma liver is just curious. I think you also have it, if not me. I mean, all of us may be having it. It's a congenital problem. It doesn't have anything to do. Okay, that's another problem. I agree.
Thrombocytopenia.
Huh?
Hemangioma and thrombocytopenia normally happen syndromes of Kesselbach-Mariette syndrome.
Very good. Wow. So two interns who were logging one patient, similar patient, who one had, they noticed, this person has got a hemangioma. Those two interns were Kesselbach and Mariette. They were writing a log of this patient who had a hemangioma in the liver as well as thrombocytopenia. And they wrote it and they published it in the log and they have become famous. But there must be some more reason to it. Yeah, Manasa, what happens is?
Normally hemangioma that is very rare, usually it is seen in the infants.
Yeah, but what is interesting about it?
I thought it could be this.
No, that's okay. If somebody has a hemangioma in the liver and thrombocytopenia, there must be something. There must be something.
So whenever there is a hemangioma, normal hemangioma will not be very remote and will leave it off. But in Kesselbach syndrome, there will be rapidly growing hemangioma. As it is growing rapidly, there will be rapid consumption of the platelets and clotting factors. All the platelets are
Consumed in hemangioma.
Therefore, there will be low platelets.
So, how many of you have heard about this? That a hemangioma consumes platelets, as if it is eating the platelets and becoming bigger. Why should a hemangioma consume platelets? Vascular tumor, which has a good appetite for platelets and clotting factors. It consumes. It should consume. So now this is very interesting. Have any of you heard this? That a hemangioma can consume platelets and clotting factors as a daily diet. Yeah, obviously. Because daily it is consuming and becoming bigger, and the platelets and this thing are coming down. So have you heard about this?
80 years it must have consumed all the platelets.
By the time it reaches 80, it would have. But who knows, the hemangioma came now. It's a new tumor like hemangioma, capillary tumor.
But radiologically that is in infants.
Infants. So what happens to those infants? No, what happens to those infants when they
They
have?
usually have hemangioma, which will be rapidly growing, and thrombocytopenia will also be there.
What happens to
and
them?
also clotting factor abnormalities and consumptive coagulopathy will be there. They may land up in DIC also.
DIC, yeah. It of course seems like a DIC only.
And they will also have periorbital hemorrhages.
Obviously, if your platelets and this thing are consumed, you will bleed. So that is DIC. So you mean to say all of these infants die of DIC? So Kesselbach and Mariette were two interns who were not only seeing the live patients, they were also seeing the dead patients. That is what the interns were supposed to be doing, I think, 50 years back. After the patient died, they would go to the mortuary. They were not having a great life like you. After 4, everything is closed. After 4, the duty used to start. Like the patients used to die, you have to take them to the mortuary, cut them open. Then suddenly one day Kesselbach said, there's this tumor growing in the liver. And I can see that they're eating up the platelets and the clotting factors. And that is the reason our patient had this DIC-like features. Then they wrote it up in their blog and they became slightly less famous. Because when did you come to know about these people, Kesselbach and Mariette? Today. Yesterday. In your 7-year career in medicine, 4 marks question in surgery, but we came to know of it yesterday, and the interns in their 5-year careers came to know of it today. So it's not very famous. You have known Graves earlier, you knew Parkinson much earlier, Cushing's much earlier. So Kesselbach, Mariette were two interns who got some fame, I mean now they've been known that, but not that much. But yeah, it's a very very interesting thing because it's very intriguing. How does a capillary angioma eat up the platelets? And is that so? And you are also thinking the same, Satish? But do you think, I mean, just by doing a lipid profile, you can say that that person is having a cardiac risk? Like this patient I did not sign. A 29-year-old person, fellow with appendicitis. It could be any of you. He suddenly had appendicular perforation. I did not sign on this thing without seeing it. I could have seen his lipid profile. If I was so sure that lipid profile is, you know, if you see normal lipids, you rule out heart attack. Can you do that? So we have, somebody had mentioned last in somebody's thesis, you know, whatever, I mean, a person had normal lipid profile, absolutely. But,
That's what she also do, sir. Because
wait a second, both are talking so we can't. Who's going first? Huh? Then we can think of it. So if it is normal, we cannot do anything. If it is abnormal, then we can say that yes, this lipid may cause some problem. So how much does the lipid? Very good. So yeah, I was actually asking that question and you answered it before that. So I was asking you how much the lipid profile has to be abnormal to make us, you know, vary. Like this 29-year-old man going for the operation, how much should it have been? So you said 600, 700. What? Which one? Yeah, of. Well, there's so many lipids. Triglycerides, less than 150. So if it is 600 to 700, that person is going to have a heart attack. Might be, that's okay. No, but when you say might be, where is the thesis there? I mean, how much sure are you? That is measurement, isn't it?
that's what she wanted. That's what the
How would she
patient-
prove that?
In CKD patients, she will see the fasting lipid profile of all the patients.
Yes.
With that fasting lipid profile, some will be
So see, some
elevated
people
lipids.
know about it. Good, huh?
Some will be having elevated lipids and some will be having normal lipids.
Normal lipid.
With elevated lipid profile, whether there are any major events like stroke.
Very good, very good.
stroke or
Yeah,
like
yeah, she has understood that. You agree, no?
So she will
Usha, you agree with this? You haven't heard that. No, I think she explained it well. Basically, the lipid profile is abnormal, and the patient has something with CKD, like some heart attack or something. Now, this patient's pediledema could be heart failure, which has come down. The JEP has come down and all. So by the time he came to you, the AP has come down, pediledema is there, but could be having an HFPA with CKD. You know, it could be Vaishnavi's thesis case, and this patient could be having a normal lipid profile. What did we do a lipid profile to help her? So you see, if the unit doesn't, I mean, so why do we have TIA, Pravina? Patient who has TIA. What is TIA? Is it a kind of brain attack? Something like a heart attack? So what is the difference between a heart attack and a angina, stable angina? When there is narrowing of the blood vessels and the patient is having reduced supply. So similarly in the brain, how does it happen? In the brain also, if there is narrowing, then for some time the brain will not get blood, and that is called a TIA, during which time the brain will not work. So in a TIA, you have a transient reduction of blood supply to a particular area of the brain where the brain stops to function. So it can get stopped in the Broca's area when the patient will start stuttering. It can get stopped in any of those motor areas that you know of, or even sensory. Sometimes the patient will say, I am feeling this numbness in my tongue or numbness in my face. That means the trigeminal nucleus is getting affected because of the basis pontine artery, the posterior circulation. So this patient had a history of TIA like that, and then he was also having hypertension, diabetes, two more, additional basically contenders in this game where the blood vessels are affected. So hypertension causes blood vessel affection in one way. Diabetes, we don't know whether it causes blood vessel affection. Do you know? Does it really affect the blood vessels? Huh? Vasculopathy, like how? Coronary vasculopathy. How does diabetes cause vasculopathy? Vasculopathy is nothing but saying that there is some pathology in the vessel. It's a clever way of twisting the words. fructose metabolic, very good. For a change, fructose. So what happens? So you see, ultimately it all boils down to pathology and biochemistry. And nowadays more biochemistry I am seeing. Yes. And they are reading very well. Proline and all that. So fructose, yes. Fructose becomes sorbitol and then some polyol. And then how? So then you are talking about peripheral neuropathy in diabetes. No, then you have changed track now. So how is the vessel affected? Micro and macro, that's okay. No, but what is the pathology in the brain, in the vessel of the brain? How the supply is that we already talked about. But what is happening in that vessel due to diabetes? So now you are bringing glycation antivirus. The polyol has failed here. So glycation antivirus they are getting deposited, is it? I don't know. I mean, that's just a popular theory, but or hypothesis. But what really happens in the vessels due to diabetes? So you see, Usha, there are so many things we need to know about to join the dots. So what will happen to these kind of people in their lipid profiles, whereas those who are in hemodialysis, what will happen to their lipid profile? So now Usha is more concerned about the other interventions that these group of people are receiving. Whether they are receiving dialysis or whether they receive a transplant or whether they are receiving nothing. So whether that has any effect on the lipid profile. But why are you concerned about the lipid profile at all? What role does it have to play in the further outcome in this patient? Now tell me, is there any study? So you know, before you do the thesis, you have to review a lot of literature around this. And how do you do that? By raising questions first. Somebody like us raises questions, then you review the literature. So one of the questions that is coming to our minds is, what is the correlation between having an increased lipid profile and having increased heart attack or brain attack? We take it for granted because we have read it in Davidson, Harrison. You know, first thing we read is in the microinfarction, it is associated with these risk factors, hyperlipidemia. But it is associated, but what is the association? How does hyperlipidemia lead to microinfarction? This is a difficult question, very, very basic. Today we have been very basic.
Because our general duration of dialysis is 4 hours. There is very less elimination of middle molecules. One of which is home.
Somebody got the middle molecule, heard of it? I raised that thing. Yeah, middle molecule. No, not you. Oh, somebody. That is 8 semester. Okay.
Like, is there any correlation between influenza, heart attack, prolonged dialysis and...
Okay, good question for the researcher. So he is saying prolonged dialysis and short dialysis.
Middle molecules.
Yeah, so prolonged dialysis may eliminate lipids also. But then she is not really looking at that question. She is not even pre and post dialysis, she is not doing it.
Goes against the idea that lipids are causing homocysteine may be implicated.
Other molecules can be implicated in the plaque formation. So ultimately, lipid is all about the plaque formation, or is there more to it?
At least we can stop the usage of like atorvastatin and all those things. We can stop that. If we are proving this
Okay,
that
good.
FLP is not causing any raised FLP is not causing any vascular events which
Heart attack or before having a heart attack? So for people who have not had a heart attack, what is the effect of aspirin or atorvastatin in preventing a second heart attack? I mean, sorry, those who have had a heart attack. And those who have not had a heart attack, should they take it? That study is already done.
Primary?
No, primary version and secondary version. So in this CKD, will it be primary or secondary? Obviously, if the CKD patient has not already had a heart attack, it will still be primary. So are you giving primary prevention to CKD patients now? Why will you stop? I mean, it can be stopped if somebody is already giving it.
we can even prevent secondary prevention, unnecessary usage of atorvastatin.
That is like, then you have to, no, then you have to go to the research on those who have already had a heart attack and then see whether giving them secondary atorvastatin versus placebo. That is already done.
There we are seeing only the tablets. We are only looking for the efficacy of atorvastatin. Here we are looking for the efficacy of lipid profile. Whether the lipid profile.
Lipid profile is not efficacious. I mean, so you are saying the diagnostic marker as a marker efficacy.
We are not
As a
looking
prognostic
for the
marker.
efficacy of atorvastatin. We are looking
As a prognostic marker. as a prognostic marker.
Sir, she's saying homocystic is indicated.
No, she's not. She did not even talk about homocystic.
No, sir, she's saying don't
I did not hear the word homocystic coming out of her mouth.
But she implies something. She's saying don't target LDL unnecessarily.
Okay.
Don't target.
Okay.
When it's not visible.
So, after the thesis were changed and they will not even look at the electric field.
Huh.
Then it will be as trash and they will do it. And they will.
What actually happens, and what is the reality? What happens here? After your thesis is finished, you trash it. You just hold the thesis like that and throw it far a distance. That is the reality. Okay. So how? That's fantastic. Show us the hemangioma. No, it can explain. Yeah.
Then,
Then.
Both thrombus is
Very
there
good.
and also